Should be live here in a second. All right, everybody. We are live on YouTube. We are going to take a second and redirect everybody over to this page. Oh, and I'm hearing an echo. All right, everybody. We are live. All right, everybody. Somebody's got an echo. Redirect everybody. We're going to take a second and redirect everybody over to this page. I'm hearing somebody's got two things happening. Somebody's who's got two screens going. Somebody's got an echo. Somebody's got two things happening. Somebody's got two things happening. Somebody's got two screens going. Somebody's got two screens going.
Yeah, I only have one. Still there?
Good.
That sound is crazy.
It says we're live on YouTube now.
Yeah. Yep.
Still echoing?
Yeah. Yeah, still echoing.
Okay, hold on. It was Joe's mic, I think. Or
Joe,
maybe
mute
not.
your mic. Oh,
It wasn't Joe.
It's muted right now.
It's Guy, I think.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Is it Guy? Are they watching somewhere close? Ask him.
Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties. All right. Is it still echoing?
No.
All right. So, Donnie, let me try and figure this out. If you want to just kick it off.
Yeah. Are we live? Are we ready to go?
Yep.
Well, this is a distinct honor and a pleasure to have our friend, Mr. Guy Whidden, and the two guys below who started the Friends of Guy Whidden page many, many, many years ago. Guy Whidden, you look good. We love the haircut, and we're excited to have you on live with us.
Well, thank you.
How are you feeling today? How's everything going?
Feel fine.
Well, you look good.
A little
for sure.
bored, not by this. So
What's that?
boring days. Right now, it's very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have some of our guys from our team here. I think you know everybody. You guys want to start off and introduce yourself, or just say hello? I lost volume.
War. So we could just go for Ralph. You can tell him a little bit more about himself.
Joe, can you start over again because we didn't hear you because you were muted. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. Yeah. Can you hear? Am I okay now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you now. Everybody can hear you.
Yeah, I'm Joe Conway. I met Guy about 10 or 12 years ago at a World War II event. He was walking around and we just happened to meet and struck up a conversation about the airborne. And one thing led to another. And eventually in 2011, I went with him and my son, and with the help of Ralph, we went back to Margaretton Cemetery, where one of Guy's close friends is still buried. And that's where all this started to materialize, this friendship.
Yeah. Well, my name is Ralph, and I met Guy through Joe and to another veteran called Clancy Lyle. I did something for Clancy at the Margaretton Cemetery, And back in the day, I think about 10 years now, maybe 11 years. That's how also through Clancy I met Joe, and we hooked up. And Clancy sent me a little gift. That was the book of Guy Whidden that he wrote a couple of years ago. A really big, nice book about the airborne, about his life and everything. And he will talk about it later on, I think. And Clancy gave me the book as a gift, and I contacted through Joe. I found Guy, and we all did this little trip that we planned just out of the blue. Really, so hey, maybe it would be cool to bring Guy back to Holland and bring some other guys who never been back. And so we brought 3 veterans back to Holland in 2011, I think. And yeah, it was pretty neat. And it was a nice trip, a nice experience. And we have very fond memories of that. We went to Holland. We went a couple of days through Normandy also. And from that time, I've become really close with Guy. And I can say he's one of my dearest veterans that I know. And good and best buddies since that time.
Guy, you're loved by so many people. I know you
Yeah,
have some memories of both Ralph and Joe and myself from over the years. Just really good to see you. What are you, 96 now?
Yes, I'll be 97 in June.
97 in June. Let me if I remember, June 16th, June 14th.
18th, that's close to done.
I knew it was close. I remember many years ago. Well, Guy, you want to just give everybody, there's a lot of people that are watching right now. You want to just, give them a little
introduction of yourself.
Yeah, a little background, little stuff about yourself.
Little background from me.
Yeah,
just
talk about yourself.
Yeah, just introduce yourself and who you are, and how about like where you're from, your family, and leading all the way up to joining the airborne.
It'll take quite a while because almost 100 years.
Time. We're here in the book.
Well, the first remembrance I have was being in a black baby carriage. I can remember being in a baby carriage, but I wasn't speaking though.
And you remember that, huh?
I remember it, or it just comes back as clear as a bell. But to go on, I think it might be better just to have them ask me questions, because I'm better at answering questions than giving a long spiel about myself.
Well, tell me about what was your first experience in doing World War II? When did you get drafted, or did you go into the Army? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, why'd you join the airborne?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why the airborne?
Well, I graduated from high school in 1941, and I had an appointment that was being worked on to go to West Point. But then, of course, what happened was Pearl Harbor happened. That changed all my thinking. And I discarded the opportunity to go to West Point simply because I thought I'd missed the whole war. I'd had enough of high school already. So I looked into several different branches of the service. So some of my buddies wanted to go in the Marines. I considered that because we had some of my family were Marines. One of them was killed in Vietnam. But I decided against it, and they went to Guadalcanal. I never did find out whether they all made it out of there. That was a bad battle, Guadalcanal. And then I thought about the Air Force. I did think that, I think I'm off the screen, I believe. You'll have to look at it over here.
Yeah, there you go.
There you are.
Yeah.
We're back again.
Those is
So
good.
I decided I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I asked the sergeant, I said, Sergeant, are you sure that I can go to Randolph Field? He said, that's where you'll be going to for flight training. I said, that's fine. And I said, I want my dad to come in tomorrow because he said they wanted to ship me out right away. Well, I hadn't even decided definitely. So my father came in, and he had been in World War I with the 28th Division, Pennsylvania Division. And he asked the sergeant, he said, this, and don't give me any baloney either, he said, is my son going to Randolph Field for flight training? He said, absolutely, Mr. Whidden, no problem at all. So the next day, we started on a train, and we were going south, and we continued to go south. And I knew a little bit about geography. I knew that Randolph Field was that way. So I got up and I went to the sergeant, and I did know a sergeant from a corporal. I'd been in the National Guard in 1940. So I had a little bit of background about the military. And the sergeant said, what's your problem, soldier? I said, I think I'm on the wrong train. I'm supposed to go to Randolph Field for flight training. He said, TS, soldier. He said, you're probably going in the infantry.
TS.
I said, you mean I'm not going out there? He said, no. He said, you're going south. And I said, I know that. So I had to give up on being a fighter pilot. And so, it's a long story from there. So have another question.
So you have a lot of desires.
I don't want to go through the whole war at one
We were
time.
just listening.
You wanted to be Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw the movie. You're the original Tom Cruise.
I mean, the question can say what happened next, but we could jump around.
Hey, Guy, can you tell us about your experience with basic training?
I never had basic training, and that was a disadvantage. They said you were in the National Guard in 1940. Yeah, once a month. The only big thing I did in the National Guard, we went on maneuvers, and I think they were 3 weeks then, maneuvers, and everything was on horseback.
Wow.
And I was the colonel's orderly. My job was to keep his boots polished. I was like 16 years old or something like that. I liked my job pretty well. I also liked the fact that I was in the combat engineers, and I was in the water a good part of the day swimming. I was a fairly good swimmer. Most of the guys couldn't swim, so they had to be on land. I was out there with these pontoons in the water all day, and it was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of press coverage, and many newspapers had newspaper women taking pictures of us because they knew everybody had an idea that we might be in a war one day soon. So that was my first experience with anything military, and it was great fun. I know it was a long ride up to Upper New York State on that particular 3-week maneuver, and we were in a train, and by the time we got there, we had coal dust all over us because back then, if you kept the windows open, you were dirty by the time you went a few miles. And then we'd have I don't like to say it online, a pit stop. It stopped the train, we'd all get out, and usually it was a little outside of a town, and there weren't many people there, and we'd all take a pee about the same time. and then we get back on the train again. Next
Nice.
question.
Well, we're gonna have some people join in and ask some questions live. They're watching on YouTube and they're gonna join our Zoom call here, and they're gonna ask you questions. So we're gonna have we'll add in Charlie Greer here, see what he's going to ask here. So we're live on YouTube right now, and people can join ours. Is that Charlie? Are you there?
His audio is connecting.
I see his video.
I saw his face. Oh, I see your head.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hello.
All
You're
right.
live.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Hi.
How old are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Minnesota, but I live in England right now.
All
Oh, really?
How old are you?
How old are you?
Yeah. 13.
13.
Yeah.
Very cool. How
Yeah.
old are you, Guy?
I'll be in June. I'll be 97.
97. Wow.
97.
All right.
Wow.
So, Charlie, you got a
I'm
question for him?
slightly older than this young man. I'm in my second childhood, Charlie. So I'm really about 12 years old.
And I can tell you, he really is. I mean, look at this guy. Look at his head. Look at that
Yeah,
haircut.
you got the paratrooper
Got a
mohawk.
mohawk.
That's right.
Ah, he knows.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So what do you
Yeah.
want to ask Charlie?
So I was wondering, when you jumped into Normandy, how long did it take you to rejoin your unit?
Oh,
Question.
I didn't get with any part of my unit until about 3 in the afternoon.
Oh wow.
And we jumped at about 1 o'clock. We were the first combat planes to drop into Normandy. And I know that our first lieutenant, he was a great guy, but I read a letter that he wrote home, and he said, I'm bragging now, but he said I was the first combat officer to land in France. And
Oh, wow.
I wasn't in his plane. Our platoon there were 40 of us, and we had about, maybe 5 planes. So I could have been the second plane, the third plane. But I know it wasn't in his plane. He was, of course, the jump master. And Lieutenant Brungard was the other lieutenant. He was a jump master. Then we had a couple of sergeants. And my job, I was the last one out. And my job was that of a pusher. They knew I was jump happy. And so they,
Jump happy.
yeah.
Hey, Guy would have been a
they-
hell of a
they
pusher.
knew that I would
Yeah.
jump out, but my buddies said they put me back there because I was afraid to jump and that they'd have to fly me back to England. Charlie, does that answer your question, or have I got?
Oh, that was an amazing answer. Thank you. And before I go, I just want to show you something. I'm a bit of a World War II collector, and I have this helmet that was owned by a paratrooper in the 101st.
Oh, I see it. Yes.
Wow.
His name is
Nice.
his name was George R. Jones, and he jumped into Normandy on D-Day with I think it was the 277th Artillery Regiment.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is his helmet, and he sadly was killed in action on the 22nd of June, 1944 in France.
He
Wow.
was killed in. Yeah. Charlie, you don't have a mohawk there.
Charlie,
You're
you
gonna
should shave your head like a mohawk like Guy did.
I'm pretty convinced I can pull off the look. I don't know if I can, but
I don't know if I can.
We're trying to get as many people to do the mohawk challenge as possible. I think I'm
I will do it.
gonna do it. I'm gonna shave it all off.
Yeah.
Just a mohawk. I might even dye it silver just so I look like Guy.
That's-
All right, yeah.
great look, huh?
Hey, Charlie, you have any more questions for Guy?
I would like to
Um,
announce then now that Donnie's going to have a crew cut, maybe.
Oh, he's calling you out, Donnie.
Oh,
All right.
I haven't seen
Charlie,
the
thanks
cover
for joining us. We're gonna get
Yeah,
try to
he's
get
got
some more
more
people
hair
in here.
than
Have
the
a good
rest of
day.
you. He's
All right,
got a
you
lot of
too.
hair.
Hey, Charlie,
All right.
before you go, send us a DM with your address. All right. We want to make sure that you get something.
Ooh.
All right, thank you, thank
And
you.
also, thank you for
Charlie,
for the history of these men here. We want to make sure that your generation, you guys are going to pull it forward and continue the message of the
I have
service
a
and
question for
sacrifice of the
Charlie.
British generation. And you know, you're keeping it alive. We love your enthusiasm, and thank you so much.
Great question.
Guy has a question for Charlie.
Yeah,
Oh,
Charlie, are you freshman in high school?
No, I'm actually in 7th grade.
7th grade?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a while to go. You gonna play
Yeah,
sports?
I do. Yeah, I play football, but you guys call it soccer. I live in England, so I play football and I play baseball. Yeah.
That's good. You've heard of Donnie Edwards, haven't you?
Oh
The
yeah, of course I
football
have.
player. He's our hero.
Only the best.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right,
Just-
Charlie. We'll talk to you later.
All right, wait. How do I DM you though? Do I send it to like an email or?
You have Instagram or Facebook?
Oh, I do have Instagram.
Yeah,
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook, or even on YouTube. I think you
Okay.
can send us. a
Follow
message.
us on social media, and you can DM that way. Directly.
Okay.
Hit
All
it.
right.
Thanks for joining in.
It all
Thank you.
goes to
Thank you
the
so
same
much, Charlie.
All right,
right.
stay safe.
Bye,
Thank you for
Charlie.
your service, Mr. Whidden. All
Hi,
right, goodbye.
Charlie.
Love it.
Hey, guys, since Charlie initiated that D-Day question, could you tell us a little bit about the jump and about exiting the plane that night?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, when we embarked, about 9 o'clock at night, it was still light in England. We were on the coast, and we left the marshalling area, which was close by. The marshalling area is where we had been for about a week, and it was all barbed wire all the way around us so nobody could escape. And in the marshalling area, the only thing we did was look at the table that showed where we were going, and it was in miniature, everything, the houses and so forth, and what the terrain looked like. And we did study that quite a bit. It's called a sand table, I believe. And then the rest of the time we spent wrestling and boxing and playing cards and eating great. They gave us even ice cream. It was like, you know, like you were going to go to the electric chair the next day or something like that. So then we went down to the plane. The cover of my book shows a picture of 4 of us standing there, hearing General Eisenhower talk to some of our officers, and we were about 10 feet away. And
You're on the
so
far
the 4 of
right?
us stood there for the whole time that Eisenhower was there at the marshalling area. And we loved Eisenhower. And not too long ago, I told his granddaughter up in Gettysburg a couple stories about her father that she'd never heard of before. And that's the sideline to what I'm talking about. Is I have a problem with talking about everything else. Anyhow, we got on the planes. We sat underneath the wings for about an hour or two. And there was supposedly one plane where one of the guys' grenades went off and killed a half a dozen of them. I think it was a stick was about 12 veterans, maybe in some cases, maybe 12 at 15, but in my plane was about 12. But I didn't see this happen. It was sometime that day or the next day, I forget. But anyhow, we sat underneath the wing of the plane, and then we all voted. If you were a smoker, you'd have to keep the door shut on the plane going across. and the windows covered, because if you were dragging on a cigarette up in the skies, they might see something light up. Everybody's smoking. So we had to, so I was the only one to vote no smoking. That meant they keep the door open and you get fresh air coming in, and the place wouldn't be smelly. See, there wasn't any bathroom aboard. So where'd you go to the bathroom? You use your own imagination. So of course, I was saddened by the fact that I was going to not feel the cool breeze of the plane coming in. And we were flying right over the water, close to the water, to avoid German radar. That meant that the planes that had doors open would get a splash of water now and then to freshen things up. You couldn't hear anybody talk because the noise of the engine, so nobody talked the whole time over. I had guys next to me, I couldn't even hear them. Most of them were dozing off now and then because most of them were on Dramamine for air sickness. I voted not to take Dramamine because I heard that it can make you sleepy. And that meant that you might, and a couple of guys after they landed, I've heard stories where they fell asleep from the Dramamine when after they hit the ground. Well, that didn't happen to me though. So it was rough going over. The smell was terrible. Not only the engine of the plane was making so much noise, and like I say, you know, it wasn't a bathroom. That made it worse and worse. And so going across until we got to the Channel Islands, which were right outside the peninsula that we were jumping into, we were close to the water, like I say, to avoid German radar. And then we got to the Channel Islands, which were right out offshore, from far offshore. We went up to about 1,500 feet right away. And then the green light went on and we had to stand up and stand in the door. And then it was like a roller coaster from 1,500 feet, roller coaster right on down to St. Mary-Glise. When we got to St. Mary-Glise, the signal was go. And I was in the far back and I was pushing the guys in front of me because there was a little hesitation now and then. And then we couldn't get all of them out. And this pilot was an experienced pilot. Most cases, they'd just fly back to England if they couldn't get them all out. That was the plan anyhow. So this pilot, though, we were right over St. Mary-Glise, going toward Omaha Beach. So couldn't get them all out. So he went out over Omaha Beach. Now this is 1 in the morning. They didn't hit the beaches till around 6 o'clock in the morning. So this is 5 hours before. We flew out over Omaha Beach, over the water, and then came back, and there were about 5 of us. So this time I got them all out, and I landed right outside of St. Mary-Glise. Well, that's all another story. I mean, I could go on all day. Let's have a question.
Well, let's add some more people in here. We got quite a few people waiting to come in and ask you a question. So we're going to add in Nick Pascuzzi, I think that's how it's pronounced. We'll find out. So we have some more people coming in from our YouTube watch. There he is.
Welcome, Nick.
Nick, you're live with us. Here's Guy Whidden. You got a question for him? Quite a few people waiting to come in and ask you a question. So we're going to add in. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
All right. Cool.
Yeah, good to see you, but you don't have your mohawk. Now,
I know. Well, my barber closed, so I think I'm going to have to do that.
What's your name?
My name is Nick Pascuzzi. I'm here
Nick?
in beautiful sunny
Nick.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Okay.
So my question for you, Charlie kind of started it off with, he said that you told him that that you met up with your unit at 3 p.m. So after you landed and up to 3 p.m., what were you doing? What was your experience like in Normandy?
Well, when I landed, of course, we jumped at 300 feet, and the parachute doesn't fully open for another 175 feet, because we had small chutes. They were camouflage chutes. They weren't like in the movies, you know, Hollywood white chutes. The chutes that were white were the supply chutes, and that made sense. That's how you got your supplies. You look for a white chute, and they would weigh 300, 400, 500 pounds. So I know that as soon as I hit, and I didn't hit standing up either, I crash landed by a forget what we call them. And sometimes I have a time when I miss hedgerow, and I started getting on my feet, and then I saw a white chute coming right toward me, oscillating through the air, swinging, and it apparently hit me in the head and knocked me out, because the next thing I heard was click in the dark, and that was somebody had landed next to me, and of course I was out, but I was coming to, and I could hear him clicking with his little cricket, and I didn't respond because I was mixed up in my head. I've been hit by 300 or 400 pounds, and of course the thing that hit me went over here and emptied behind me. So I'm looking for my cricket, and I couldn't find it, and then there was a verbal response, and I couldn't remember that either because I've been hit in the head and I was dizzy. And then I realized that he might shoot me. So I said, "I'm Guy Whidden." I said, "I went to Cheltenham High School. I was on the wrestling team. My girlfriend was a redheaded girlfriend." And this guy said, "You dumb SOB." He said, "What the hell? I was ready to shoot you because we were told if you didn't get any response, you killed the guy." Well, he waited long enough for me to stay alive.
Oh, you got lucky there.
Yeah.
We've heard stories where it didn't turn out that great in that scenario. Wow.
So.
Very
Nick,
cool.
does
That answer your question, Nick?
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for your time and thanks for your service.
Oh, thank
you for
I've
joining
heard that
us.
before somewhere. Where have I heard that? Thank you. That's always nice. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Nick.
All right. Thanks, Nick. All right, let's
Thanks,
get
guys.
another guy in here. Let's see who else we
Cut
got
your
waiting.
mohawk now.
Get your mohawk.
Yeah, got your mohawk. Okay, let's see. We got Nate waiting in the wings here. Let's get Nate in here. There he is.
He's got headphones on.
He's got the headphones on.
He's a
Oh, he's got
young
gaming
fella.
headset. Nate's a gamer.
Yeah, I think so.
He's a gamer for sure. He's connecting up. Can you hear us, Nate?
It's coming in.
He's coming in.
Not.
What do you think of this guy getting to talk to all these young kids?
From all around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
All right, Nate. We can see you, but we can't hear you, Nate.
Something with
He's
his
trying
audio.
to talk.
So he's trying to get in, Guy, but his audio is like his mic is not working right
Those
now.
big old
Is
headphones.
he tongue tied or what?
Oh,
Got those big old expensive headphones and he can't talk in them.
Yeah.
Come on, Nate.
nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, we can't hear him.
Or maybe
I
try
can't
later.
hear either.
Oh man.
Nate, we can't hear you if you can hear us.
Make up a question
Nate.
for him.
Let's
Hey,
see.
Hey, while he gets on,
We'll bring someone else. We'll bring someone else in here
Sure.
Yeah.
while we're waiting.
Hey, so Guy, was this the color of the parachute?
That was, yes. Yeah,
So the
maybe a
beginning-
little dark.
That's actual parachute fabric, right, Donnie?
Yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's the real thing.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Hey, Black.
Now we can hear you, Nate.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Nate.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Mr. Donnie?
I'm doing
Pretty
very
good.
well, sir.
Mr.
good.
Donnie.
You-
All right.
Donnie. Well, his birthday was just April 6th, so that
What's your name?
My name's Nathan.
Nathan,
Jason.
how old are you and where you from?
I'm 13 and I'm from Michigan.
Michigan.
Another 13-year-old.
Very cool.
Michigan is a good place to be from.
So you a Wolverine fan or you a Spartan fan?
Wolverine. Whole family is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is
Are
that
you
good, Donnie?
nervous? Are you nervous?
No,
No.
not really.
Oh, that's a good boy.
well, ask you a question.
Yeah, you got Mr. Guy Whidden here, and he's all yours. Whatever you'd like to ask him, I mean, he's here to answer.
So my question is for Mr. Gaia. What weapon did he use?
What weapon? Well,
Yeah.
yes, I was a machine gunner, and a machine gun squad had 4 guys. The one guy, he was a corporal. He carried the tripod. The second guy was the assistant gunner, and he carried the machine gun. Of course, that's the heaviest part. And nobody wanted that job, but that's what they gave me from the beginning. Because they said, oh, you were restaurant high school, you can carry that thing. Then we had 2 guys that carried ammunition in these metal boxes. So that was a machine gun squad. And then the company had mortar squads and all that type thing. And we were in 2nd Battalion, that's D, E, and F rifle companies. I was in headquarters company, but we didn't do paperwork though. Like we supplied, when machine guns got knocked out in D, E, and F companies, which a lot of them were knocked out because when a machine gun came off, started firing, then the enemy would zero in on them. They want to knock them out. My father had been a machine gunner in World War I, and he almost got knocked out himself. They had water-filled machine guns, and ours were air-cooled, water-cooled, air-cooled. But anyhow, that's what my job was. And then also I carried a folding stock carbine rifle that we jumped with. It was in a little cover strapped to my waist and went down it's about that long when the folding stock carbine is folded. And then that was a secondary weapon. So if our machine gun was knocked out, then that was my primary weapon. And it was a fairly good little weapon.
Well, thank you. That was a cool story.
Oh, thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
Hey, Guy, hey, Guy, how heavy was that 30 cal machine gun?
How
heavy was that 30 cal machine gun that you had?
Oh, well, I couldn't carry it today because I'm old. But I carried that on 150-mile hike, and even my lieutenant, he felt sorry for me because he knew I was carrying a lot of weight. Took it off my shoulder and carried it for a couple miles, which I thought was very nice. And so I got teased about it because I had to depend on a lieutenant to help me out. But the ones that teased me, though, they were just carrying their rifles, maybe. So that was heavy, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And
I
when you
don't-
made the drop, and Guy, when you made the drop, just to go off of Nate's question, when you made the drop into Normandy, did you have all of the elements in order to have an operational machine gun?
Well, of course, when I landed, I didn't have a machine gun because early on in Africa and Sicily and places like that, they tried to carry the machine gun above the reserve chute, and they usually lost it, you know, because it was just too hard to do that and land and everything else. So then they got away from that, and they were dropped in a supply bundle.
Mhm.
But then you had to get to the bundle and get it unwrapped to get your machine gun. And I'm just trying to know, was anybody carrying anything at all until we got to the machine gun equipment bundle, which also carried mortar stuff and everything else. So you might get to the wrong one that might not have a machine gun in it. Then
Very
you
cool.
suddenly become a rifleman. If you can't get to your equipment, then you're a rifleman, and you just fall in with a rifle company as a
Make do.
rifleman.
Yeah, you make do. Thank you so much for that, Guy. Hey, Nate, thank you so much for your question. Please send us a DM, and we'll get something in there for you participating, and continue to share the message of the heroic deeds and service of our greatest generation. So thank you so much, buddy.
You're welcome.
Thank
Can I,
Nate.
can I say one more thing to Mr. Guy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Guy.
Thank you. Thank you for being out there and
Yeah.
taking an interest. Thank you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you,
You're
Nate.
All right, thanks, Nate. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
everyone.
Bye. Send us a DM.
Okay.
Bye. All right, let's get another person in here.
This is fun.
This is great. All right, we got Joshua Pawhuska. I'm probably butchering that. Donnie, speaking of the parachute, I got mine signed by Dick Klein here.
Yeah,
Nobody can see
you
it.
can't see it. You got to get rid of your
Oh,
background.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. You can see it when I wave. Woo, kind of. Anyway. All right. What do we got here? Is this Josh?
Joshua.
Can you hear us?
Joshua? Okay.
We can hear you. Go ahead and ask Guy a question.
How old are you, Joshua?
How old are you? Where are you from?
Oh, I am 14 years old and I am from Dixon City, Pennsylvania.
Oh, cool.
Pennsylvania.
Oklahoma?
From Pennsylvania.
And how long have you been interested in World War II history?
Few years now, since 5th grade, so that would be 2016, no, maybe 2017.
Okay.
Very cool.
Okay. What part of Pennsylvania?
Scranton area, it's the northeastern part.
Yeah, I went
Scranton?
to one of the colleges I went to is up in eastern Pennsylvania. Can't even, oh yeah, it's I've been to so many colleges. I didn't listen well. That's why I had to go to so many of them. But anyhow, let's have a question.
No, I love it. Josh,
Question.
we have Mr. Guy Whidden here, 96 years young. What's your question, buddy?
He said he wanted to be a pilot, and I wanted to be one too. You know, if I was back in World War II, I wish I could fly an F-4U Corsair because that's actually my
Oh,
favorite.
nice.
Oh, wow.
That was a good plane.
That's nice.
If you look at my shirt, it's a B-17 bomber. Bunch of
Oh
them.
yeah, I can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
I love aircraft, and I've wanted to fly since I went on an airplane to Utah, and I went to a place for flight, and they offered me flight school. So I'm like, cool.
Nice.
And then, you know, I joined 2 aviation clubs, got a certificate in some flying, So I do some flying. I'm only 14, but sometimes I'll go up with the CFI and do some flying.
Very good.
Wow. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Very good. Let me tell you about my
7%
brother.
train.
He was 17 years old and without any flight training at all on a bet, he took a Corsair out in the Marshall Islands. He could have been shot down by the Japs, but it was a day when the planes were all on a mission, and his plane that he took care of it. He was 17 years old, and Lindbergh flew his plane, but Lindbergh took another plane that day. So on a wager, my brother rather, at 17 with no training, took the Corsair up in the air, flew around, I think it was Roy Island out in the Marshalls and back again. And he never got court-martialed for it.
It is his brother. Look, can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's in
in
green.
I want you to send it to Austin. He can share it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Do you have that file?
No, it's not. It is in his book. You
That's
see,
in his book.
Marine Air Wing. I can show you really close. Let me see it.
It was on Guadalcanal he was on too?
I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
Wow.
That's a nice propeller right there.
Yeah, it is.
And Guy,
Josh.
people can purchase your book where?
Well, actually, we're almost out of them. So if I should decide to get some more, it takes a while. But
Well,
this
if you
is
go
the
to-
book.
Yeah, if you go to his Facebook page, Friends of Guy Whidden, and just PM over there, and we'll get you some information where you can order still a few.
Are they available on Amazon?
Yeah, but they're about $70 at Amazon, and his
Wow.
book is $35 with shipping. So
Wow.
that's the difference.
All right, so Josh, what's your question?
Yeah.
What kind of aircraft did you want to fly in World War II?
Did you hear it,
What
Guy?
aircraft would he want to fly? Is that what you said?
Yeah. What kind of aircraft did he want to fly in World War II?
Or what did you want to fly in World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not hearing him.
What kind of aircraft did you want to fly in World War II is what he asked.
Well, fighter plane. You're familiar, probably more familiar with all of them than I am, because that's your hobby. But
Yep.
a fighter plane, I mean, let's see, what were they flying then? I know my father, he almost downed a German fighter plane in World War I, but we didn't see too many of them in our sectors. I saw a couple come in, but I think they were on some other mission. They were taking pictures or something like that. That is on D-Day. I think in some parts of that area, there were some planes, but I don't remember any.
Oh, cool.
Okay,
Josh,
I
thanks
get
for
ready
coming
for
on.
another question, maybe.
We're going to bring in some more people. Josh, thanks for your enthusiasm and caring about this history.
Yes, thank you, Josh.
And Josh, hey, please send it to DM, and we'll make sure we'll get something out to you. All right, sir. Thank you for your
This is
participation.
what my window looks like. It's a World War II dogfight.
Nice.
Oh,
Plastered
really,
on the window.
really cool.
Cool. All right,
Yep.
thanks, Josh.
Oh, no problem.
See you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
All
You too.
right. All right, let's get some more people in here. We got a lot of people waiting. Let's see,
Ooh.
Fred. Just says Fred.
Brett?
We'll see who Fred is. Let's see, is he coming in? Fred's coming in.
Connecting.
Really?
Oh, Fred is gone.
Might be good to be in
Looks
here
like
once in
Fred
a
is
while.
gone. All right. So we got Suzanne Ryan. Bring Suzanne Ryan in. Looks like they're coming.
Hey, maybe we can get a female to get a mohawk there, Guy. What do you think?
That would be cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe Suzanne will be our first one.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to do
Get
it.
a real young one about 7.
Oh, we got Fred and Suzanne coming in.
All right, we got Suzanne and Fred. Hey, Fred,
There's
how you
Fred.
doing, sir?
I see you. What's your name, sir?
Fred?
Yeah, Fred's on there.
We can see you.
What's that?
Well, it's not. He's not a. That's not a girl. I don't see too much of it. He's a guy,
Yeah, he's a guy. Yeah, but the other lady is coming in.
but he's not saying
Fred,
anything.
can you hear us?
Can't hear you, Fred.
No audio.
He's trying to say something, but it's not coming
He's
out.
trying to speak. He's trying to speak.
Yeah, so I don't hear anything.
It's so busy over here now. Everybody wants to come in.
I know there's a lot of people on here. Fred, we can't hear you, buddy.
Can you hear me? He's not responding.
Oh,
Yeah, this gentleman was trying to say something.
bummer. Let's see. I can't turn his audio on for him here.
Yeah, can you turn your audio on your microphone, Fred? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
It's not
Maybe-
you, it's him.
Huh?
It's not you, it's his computer. It's this guy's
Yeah,
I
computer.
know. I can't hear him there.
None of us can.
Yeah.
Why
All
don't
right,
we?
so while we're working on, while Fred's trying to get his audio set up,
Yeah.
we'll add someone else in here.
I'll tell you. We'll come back to him. Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Okay.
See in a little bit. He's trying to talk, but I don't hear a word.
Oh, we got another one here. Jacqueline
All right.
Perry. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Jacqueline Perry.
This gentleman here. Now he should have a mohawk.
Oh, there you go.
Someone else in here.
I'll tell you, he's not smiling, so he didn't hear me.
Let's see.
See in a little bit.
So Jacqueline Perry. Can you
He's the
hear
one
us?
who's saying anything.
Jacqueline Perry. He doesn't look like a Jacqueline, but
He's smiling. This gentleman here.
Hi, how you doing?
okay, there he
Yeah,
is.
hear you.
We got one. What's your name?
My name's Leroy Perry,
Leroy Perry. Okay, Leroy, where are you from?
Maryland.
Maryland. All right, you got a question for Guy?
Yeah, I wanted to see. I think my grandfather jumped with Mr. Whidden.
Somebody has his audio.
He has our audio.
Video echo. Hold on a second.
It's coming across
I
like my
think it's coming
barnyard.
from.
I can hear sounds like
Yeah, it's coming from Mr.
the
Perry.
animals out there.
What was
I
his
can't
question?
hear
Did
any
anyone hear that?
Yeah, he's
human voices.
Said his grandfather might have jumped
Yeah.
with Guy Whidden. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. What was your grandfather's name?
Well, maybe one of our own group could ask the question. See, they're not coming in. Either one.
he's watching.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
you can
asked
hear it
him if
now.
he wanted to do a mohawk. This gentleman here
That better?
needs a
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, now it's
I think my grandfather might have jumped with you, Mr. Whidden. His name was Leroy Edward Perry. Might have been named by Moose.
What unit was he with?
502nd. I think he was in HQ and D. Here, I got a picture of him. I don't know if you can see it.
Well, he was in 1st Battalion. The chances of my knowing him, the name,
Can you see that?
I see a picture of him, but I can't see any. much of
Leroy Perry
anything.
went by the name of Moose.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually found that out from some documents that my sister actually found on some of his papers, discharge papers and all that stuff.
You see, there were 3 battalions, and we were a few miles apart, each battalion. So, and his grandfather was in 1st Battalion, I was in 2nd. So we could have passed each other one day, but even in our own battalion, in the course of time, we probably saw each other, but it's hard enough to remember all the guys in our own company. Yeah.
And my grandfather did get to speak to Eisenhower too before you all jumped. And supposedly the story that my grandfather gave me was he got to talk to Eisenhower and he was given a grease gun, is what my grandfather called them. And he was unhappy with that gun. He wanted a Thompson. And supposedly everybody gave him a bunch of crap for it, but evidently somebody put a Thompson on his bed when he went back to his spot for him to take that night.
I wish I could help you. There have been occasions where I did know the person, but and there were even a couple in my own platoon I didn't want to know their names.
Yeah.
One of those in my platoon killed another one in our own platoon. So you didn't always have the best of people in a platoon.
Okay, thank you.
I could tell you a lot of stories about that.
Yeah, my grandfather told some. I don't know what was real and what was fake sometimes because I think he made some of it up. But yeah,
we had some bad ones, but we had a lot of good ones.
yeah, he didn't tell much about the bad stuff. It was always the good stuff, and mostly it was about the jump into Holland. He liked that. He mentioned a lot of stuff about that. But
he jumped into Holland too. Did he land near Eindhoven?
That I don't know. Actually, my sister found out some information where possibly he was in before Market Garden actually started. He was actually in there. I know he was mentioned about being running night raids and blowing stuff up at night, and then hiding out and everything where it would hide him during the day. I think he was in before the main battle happened, because we actually learned that from some historian, saw that the battles were backwards on his paperwork, and they said that that's a point of showing that he was actually there before the main force actually came in.
The main force was the planes.
Yeah, he was a Pathfinder also.
Oh, Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he was a Pathfinder, that would be in Normandy. The Pathfinders came in early.
Yeah.
They set up their Eureka system and so forth, so to make the pilots would be able to see what was going on, and they were strictly undercover until we got there. Otherwise, the whole place would have opened up a lot sooner. So they were secretly working on ground, because if they started a ruckus or something, then we would have had a heck of a time coming in, because the whole area would have opened up. The Germans would wake up and everything. So that was one of my squad leaders. He could speak fluent French. He was one of the Pathfinders, and it was interesting. It was more risky in one sense of the word because there weren't many of them. So that was a big job that he had. He was a Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So you can be proud of him.
Mhm.
Very cool. Well, Mr. Perry, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and thanks for your service.
Thank you,
All right,
sir.
thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's get some more people in here. See, we got Grady Tom coming in. I don't know if that's Tom Grady or if it's Grady Tom.
Hey,
I don't
Tom
know.
Grady.
We got
He knows him.
we got video. I can see him. Is he
Come
still
on,
there?
Tom. He's from Denver. Yeah, he must be there.
You know Tom Grady?
Yeah, and Guy knows him also.
Oh, really?
The police officer in Denver.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
So
he
it looks
police
like he
officer in
might have
Denver.
joined and then left.
Oh, he's
See
gone.
if he comes back. All right. We're heading in. Steve
There he is.
Clark. Oh, there he is.
Oh, yeah.
So we got
I
two
think-
guys here.
I think I've seen him before.
All right, we'll start with Tom Grady.
Hi.
Start with Tom Grady up here.
Yeah. They're
We'll
great
get Tom
guys.
Clark in a moment.
How you doing,
Denver,
sir? Where you
please.
from?
You met
Oh.
him, Johnny, in Normandy. Remember? He's a friend of Jake.
Yeah, is he from Denver?
Yeah.
They're Denver policemen. They're great guys.
Guy.
They kept me out of trouble. When we went over there, I almost got in trouble a couple of times. One of their guys, and I know him, but I won't mention his name. It was outside of a cathedral, and he said, "You're going to have to watch the pickpockets and all that. They can come up behind you and get in your pocket, and you'd never know it." So I thought I'd try one on him. So I snuck around behind him, and he was talking, and I started going in his pocket. All of a sudden, he came around like this. Then he stopped. He said, "Guy, what'd you do that for?" Well, it was stupid of me to do it, because he would have nailed me. That wasn't very smart of me to do, because it was a live experience.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us, buddy. Good to see you.
See ya. I just want to say hi.
Good to see you again.
Got a question for
Say
him?
hi to everybody.
Oh, I just want to say thank you for everything you guys are doing, and you guys keeping history alive. And I really appreciate everything you're doing, Donnie and Ralph. And so I haven't met the other two guys, but keep it going. And Guy, we'll hope to see you soon. And yeah, it's good job. I just want to stop in and say hi and say thanks for all the hard work you guys are doing. And we'll see you soon.
Well, thanks for your service as well. You know, we are really
say hi to all the Denver police and all the others. Jake Schroeder and the whole works, Mark Moser and all the police officers.
Cool. Thanks for stopping by, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, one quick story though. So with that one, that picture right there, I just want to say Guy, Guy, the French one. He shook in that picture. He shook every active military that jumped in Lafayette that day, and he walked out into the jump zone and shook every single military, active military guys that came off the jump point. And he was the only one that did that. And that was one of the most impressive things to see Guy do. And you should have seen the look of the active military guys when they came off the Lafayette jump area. They were just excited and so honored to meet Guy. It was quite a life-changing moment for me. And
thank you. I was honored to talk with him. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? You guys were great to me, and I always hoped I was okay to you guys.
Oh yeah, glorious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to a whole bunch of women over there because of you.
Guy, you're a special man for sure.
And Donnie and I go back a long ways with Greatest Generations Foundation, and we used to see each other down there when we were eating. We both ate a lot. Didn't we, Donnie?
I remember, Guy, and I got to tell everybody this quick story. Tom, I have to give you a little bit of time, but we'll have a full day of activities, commemorations, visiting, all these different places, having dinner. And then after dinner, when everybody's going to sleep, Guy grabs me. He's like, "Donnie, you played in the NFL. Let's go get a little workout in." I'm like, "Guy, it's 11:30 at night." He's like, "What does it matter?" Like, I don't know about you, but if you're not going to go, I'm going to go. So I was like, I got to get some sleep. Got to be up at 6:30. So I end up making a right. He goes left towards the gym. And then I go down the hallway and I get to my room. I sit on the bed. I'm like, there's no way that World War II veteran, this paratrooper, is in the gym right now. So I got out of my room. I walked all the way down the hall, down to the gym. And I just creeped in there and I looked, and lo and behold, by himself in the gym on the treadmill working out is Guy Whidden. Unbelievable. I'll never forget that. So after that, every time, so obviously I went in there, we both worked out, and then every day this man right here was always getting a workout in, and I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, you know what? He has more energy than anyone I know. And he's the last one to go to sleep and the first one up in the morning.
Oh, true story. Yes. Yes.
So,
true story.
Push-ups in St. Mary Glaze. Remember that, Tom?
Oh, I was going to tell that story too. I'll let you tell it though.
That was funny. There was some weird St. Mary Glaze
stuff.
So St. Mary Glaze and St. Mary Glaze and all the active military all there, and They love to talk to them, having a beer, fun, you know. And he goes to this young soldier. He says, "Hey, you want to do some push-ups? I can do some." He said, "No, so no, you don't have to do push-ups. You know, you're 90 plus." I said, "You think I'm an old guy?" And he goes down and he's 1, 2, and this guy's like, "Well, everybody did." Went down in the middle of St. Mary Glees, and that was fun. That was fun.
I did 75 the other night because they were wall push-ups. See, I have a bad leg now. If I didn't have a bad leg, I'd still be competing. I competed up until I was 93, I think, 92.
Yeah.
You know, I did 5 and 10 Ks, and I swam 2-mile races. And Donnie, of course, was an inspiration. So and I remember when I asked her if she wanted to work out, that you were always fit, though, Donnie.
I try.
I couldn't say the same thing for Ralph, but
oh, thank you, guys.
thank
you.
Hey, one last thing I want to say. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but Guy was one of the last World War II veterans to jump into Normandy back at the 50th anniversary. Am I right, Guy?
Yeah, we were the last ones to do a real jump, not a tandem jump.
Right, not a tandem jump. The last veterans.
There's been a lot of tandem jumps since then. And I think there's only a couple of us left. I think I talked with one a couple of weeks ago who was still he's in California.
Tom Rice.
He jumped in 94.
Yeah, Tom Rice also jumped with you.
Tom Rice.
Tom Rice actually jumped. He jumped in Holland. He did a tandem jump in Holland with the ambassadors and special forces. And then he also jumped in Normandy this past 75th anniversary.
Tandem jump.
Tandem jump, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
see, I didn't want to do tandem jumps because little old ladies do them. But I was up in a plane 2 years ago in the Netherlands to do a tandem jump because they wouldn't let me. So the first stick was static line. They wouldn't let me do it.
Yeah.
So this guy, he said, they called it off, and he told me, he said, too much cloud cover because you go up to 10,000 feet. And he said, I can't see the roads down there. So I was up in the plane for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. Didn't get to jump either way. So I've never done a tandem jump, but I would do a static line because it's all downhill. And when I get to the ground, I'm just going to tumble anyhow.
Hey,
they're not going to let me do it.
Hey, Guy, here in San Diego at Mount Soledad, there's a plaque at the top of Mount Soledad. It's a big tribute to military servicemen and women. And there's a plaque that Ralph, you came with me, right? We found
I remember. That's
2 years ago. Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Well, there's a plaque of the guys who jumped, and Guy, your name is on that plaque. I think I have a picture of it. I can.
Oh yeah, that flag was put together on the Tennessee maneuvers. I signed it, but I think that the part that's in the museum, it has my squad leader's name, but I couldn't find mine because it's not the whole thing. I think it was cut apart. Some parts. Yeah.
I have the picture right here. Let me just share it. Maybe I can send it to you just real quick to know what we're talking about.
Here it is. I got it. Austin, I send it to you. Here it is. You can see it, Austin?
Yeah, I see a list of names or something.
Yeah, names are listed.
Oh,
we'll send it to Austin. He can share it real quick while we're talking about it. But I just want to let you know that that's there. And that's there at Mount Soledad here in San Diego. Very, very special.
Is my name on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I signed that. We saw, I think it was Tennessee maneuvers. I remember the guys sitting around there signed it, and I signed it somewhere. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, because we were looking at it. There's Whidden right there.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Donnie. these are all great guys here. And the Denver policeman, yeah, he's a nice fellow.
Right there, that's the picture.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah. Now, zoom in that picture if you can.
I'm right down here somewhere. Yeah,
Well,
that's, yeah, we all got out in front of the plane. That was on the, for the 50th.
Yeah.
There were,
You had the British 6th Airborne guys there. You had 82nd, 509th, 517th. Very, very
almost,
special.
Very cool. All right, well, let's. We got Steve Clark down there. He's been waiting a while to ask a
right.
question. So
Steve?
let's go ahead and
Yeah,
get him in on.
it's not Steve Clark. It's just a acronym that I use. My real name is Siva Ambikapathy,
Oh, okay.
and Coach Whidden used to be my coach, my high school cross country coach.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, back in
Which
the early
school is that?
2000s.
What's your name again?
Siva Ambikapathy, sir. You
Yeah.
coached both me and my sister and a bunch of my friends in Walkersville High School.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
How cool
Yes,
is
sir.
that?
Been a long time ago, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Time has flown by, but your service kind of inspired a lot of us to kind of seek out military service as well. And myself and a couple of my friends all joined the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army since he was a coach at Walkersville High School. So
Wow.
thank you for inspiring our service, sir.
So where are you living now?
Well, I live in Alabama now, so.
Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That was used to be a rough place when I was at Fort Benning jump school. You go over to Alabama, and if you were an instructor like I was, you might get beat up by the guys you just would put through it, you know. But what saved me was the fact I went over there once to Alabama, and these guys came across the street, about 5 or 6 of them. I knew they were right out of jump school. And I said, you guys are going to beat up on me, aren't you? And he said, oh, no, not you, Sergeant Whidden. He said, you used to do the push-ups with us. I always did them with them. So they couldn't say, none of them could say, you gave us push-ups all day, you didn't do them. Golly day, I was doing a couple hundred, 300 all day long. But it kept me in good shape. But so I didn't give out too many because I knew I had to do them. And I had a couple of officers that said, Sergeant, give me some push-ups. I said, sir, I just gave you some push-ups about an hour ago. He said, this is an order, Sergeant. I said, all right, sir. So I'd say, do 5. This officer was doing them all day long. He was trying, I think he was a major who was trying to impress some of the younger lieutenants.
Show off.
Yeah.
Did you have a story about Guy when he was your cross country coach? That you share?
Yeah, I mean, he would say that when he got, I mean, he didn't talk about his war service that much when he was a coach. And a lot of things would sometimes come out because we would run up a hill and he would say, well, you know, I got shot down and I got shot in my knees, or I had shrapnel in my knees. And he's like, let me show you. And he'll walk up that hill, you know, like a half sprint, half walk. And I would be like, wow, he can do it. Then I can probably, a high school student should be able to do it, you know?
It's good to see you again.
Yes, sir. And I mean, it's kind of funny because you always talked about how you wanted to be in the Marines, but you had to join the Army. And so
yeah,
I ended up joining the Marines because of that.
Yeah.
Are you in the Marine Corps right now?
No, I got out about 4 years ago, but I spent some time and then we got out. But my question is, I'm sure there's a lot of other veterans kind of watching this with Coach. Coach, did you have any kind of PTSD or things that kind of stuck with you afterwards? And you know, if you had some advice to give to other veterans that may be calling in, what would you tell them to kind of like help them ease back?
Were you in the 2nd Marines or 3rd or what?
No, sir. Yes, sir. I was with the Security Force Regiment. They're out in Virginia.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know, I did a helocast down there. Was at what's the base down there in Virginia?
Well, sir, Quantico, you mean?
Quantico. Yeah, I
Yes,
helocast back there when I was working with the National Guard. I was 60 years old, and we did a helocast out of a helicopter out of Vietnam. That was exciting, but the water wasn't very deep in that lake down there. You jump out, you hit the bottom, in May West, you pop right up, and it's like not more than 10, 15 feet at the deepest. Yeah. Where's my friend? He's left now.
Joe, he just walked away.
Oh, okay.
So, Guy, you said like after the war, did you have a little bit of PTS? Like after the war, all the things that you saw, did it affect you when you got back to civilian life?
A little bit. I remember once my wife got up in the middle of the night, and I must have been having a dream because she got back in bed, and I felt like somebody was dropping into the foxhole. And I came up, and we were taught how to strangle a person and kill them within 30 seconds, something like that. And I don't want to even demonstrate how we did it, but this way you do it. And I heard this gurgling sound, and then I suddenly realized it was my wife.
Oh, wow.
I tell you, just sat, my wife never forgot it. And fortunately, it never happened again.
Wow.
But
yeah, I've heard that before, especially right after deployment, because your senses are super heightened, and you're driving, every little bag, every little like dirt, whatever, you just kind of like, and then the dreams and stuff like that. So I've heard that before. Yeah, and it's real for sure. And thank you for sharing that.
Wow, sure.
And thank you for your service, sir.
Exactly.
This country, all of us. Yeah, all of us. We are all volunteers, and we just want to honor and recognize our military veterans. And I want to say thank you for serving this country and giving us an opportunity to live the life that we live. All you guys, and that's what means so much to us as civilians.
Thank you.
To give back and make sure that we recognize your service.
Thank you, Coach Whidden, and thank you for inspiring a new generation of students that are going to be coming up. And I see some 14-year-olds. Like, I'm pretty sure in another 4 years that kid's going to be, the next, Marine, Army guy, Navy, whatever.
Right.
So, thank you, sir.
Cool.
Hey, make sure you DM
how old are
on
you
social
now?
media, and we'll send you something out. Okay.
Yeah. Because that's been
I
a
just asked
number of
Steve how
years
old
ago. Yeah.
Oh, he left.
Okay, no,
he's
I'm
there.
36 now.
36 now. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
36.
All right, well,
Yeah.
Steve and Tom, we'll talk to you guys later. We're gonna get some more people in here.
Bye, guys. Hey, make sure you guys send us a DM. Tom, send us a DM, and I'll send you. Send me your address.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Let's get some more people in here. We got a lot of
I
people
want
waiting.
to know if a guy could tell us briefly how he got captured and just that little story. It's a really interesting story.
Cool. We'll bring somebody on. You can tell the story, Guy.
Oh, you mean with German?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this was in the Netherlands, and I was running down the road trying to find the rest of my squad. I had the machine gun. Don't tell me how we ever got separated. I can't, to this day, I don't know why I was by myself running down the road. Then I saw mortars. We used to say that in Vietnam, I think they did too, about mortars walking toward you. They were, because they'd zero in on roads, they wouldn't zero in on the wheat fields and out here, because all the traffic was on the road, and these mortars were coming up the road, boom, boom, boom. And I knew I had to do something in a hurry. So I slid down the side bank. It was just about that steep, and I rolled down into a ditch that ran parallel to the road, and it was about 15 feet high. And then I started running in the ditch in the same direction I've been running in on the road, and looking down to the ground, you get good footing. I'd step around a little tree and so forth. And I stepped around this one tree, and all of a sudden I look up, and this German crashed right into me, threw me backwards, and the machine gun landed up on my chest, and I was tangled. My head was partially tangled up in the tree, and he was right on top of me. And I was struggling to try to get my trench knife, which was attached below my knee. Had I had it attached closer to my hip, I'd probably be dead today. But because he would have had to shoot me, whatever. And he had my right leg, right arm pinned down, but this one was loose, and he was trying to put his knee on this one. He was a big German. He was a German officer, I'm sure. Very distinguished looking guy. We got a good look at him, because his face eventually was just 3 or 4 feet from me, looking down at me. And I suddenly stopped trying to resist, because all of a sudden I felt pressure up here. And see, I've been looking this way, what I was doing. All of a sudden I felt pressure. And this German he was above me, and he had a Luger pointed right here, within an inch of that spot. Of course, I stopped moving altogether. I didn't, because I knew that if I moved anymore, he could have killed me. And that was early in the morning when we were told to not take prisoners. So he had all the more reason to get rid of me, because even if I surrendered, he didn't know whether I might just turn around and kill him. So all of a sudden he kept staring down at me, and I'm staring up at him. And we didn't say a word because we couldn't speak each other's language. And then all of a sudden he just takes the pistol and lets my arm free, and I'm down there, and hands me his Luger. Well, I was freed out because he took his knees away from me, and I stuck it in my belt. And then he helped me stand up. He had to pull me up because I was all wedged in the bushes and everything else. And then he handed the machine gun to me. And then he went like this. And I said, "Oh, forget about it." I said, "And what's the point of that? I mean, he wasn't going to kill me then." So I guess he decided I wasn't going to kill him. So I kind of motioned that he should follow me, because if one of our guys saw him, they might, if he was behind me, but not too close, they might think he was a threat to me and kill him right away. And so I think we just went off to Lydia. Lydia?
We can hear you.
Oh, you can. Can you
We can
see
hear you.
me?
We lost the video.
So you can hear me. So we get up on the road, and he helped me up because it was uphill, and I had a machine gun. And he followed me down the road, running behind me. And I think we must have gone a quarter of a mile or so. And then some of our guys came up on the road, and they said, "Hey, Guy, what are you doing with that German?" I said, "He's okay. Don't worry about him." So anyhow, that's the end of that story.
Okay. So what happened at the end? You're leaving us hanging. What happened at the end when he saw him?
Well, they gave me some more prisoners, and they weren't. See, my guys in my platoon that didn't like just killing a prisoner.
Yeah.
And it was getting near the point where we might take prisoners, but what do you do with them? I mean, we're all mixed up. Germans here, right. We're here. Where do you send a prisoner? I mean, regular infantry, they had the Germans out here and they're here. If they take prisoners, they just send them back. We have no place to go with them.
Right.
Until afterward, you know, later in the day, of course, we do, you know, you have a front and you have a back then by that time.
And where was this, and where did this event happen? You remember what town or what city?
Yeah, it was between Eindhoven and Best, B-E-S-T, which is a very small little town, but we're in the rural part of it. And back then, most all the fields they were growing wheat over there. That was a big crop. And I've mentioned that to the Dutch people, and they said, we never grew wheat. I said, you did that year. It was a big crop.
Yeah, yeah.
And the wheat would grow, you know, up to about 4 feet high.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that story with us.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get some more people in. We got lots of people waiting.
Okay. I'm game.
I don't know.
You're always game. You're
I don't know
always
if that's
game.
the person's name or what.
Pardon?
I don't know if that's the person's name on here, but we're gonna find out. It says
Dutch?
Strandgaard Straight.
Yeah, I don't see that as a person anywhere.
No, we're adding them in. They're joining
Oh,
in.
he's coming in.
We'll see.
That mohawk looks amazing. I'm tempted. I'm tempted.
I can't wait until I see yours, Donnie.
I thought you were gonna do it, Donnie. I'm thinking about doing it for sure.
Well, there's no barbers. I can't see a barber. I mean,
Why
Lydia could come to the house.
Anybody do it. You
and
just
cut me up.
You do it yourself.
How?
Well,
have Catherine do it.
With what?
Yeah.
You don't
You
want
have a good chance of having one. Joe, you got a little extra. Oh no, no.
Joe, you should
you gotta do a mohawk.
Sharpie a mohawk on your head. All right. Looks like this Mads person might not be here, so we're gonna add in Henry Ketchabaugh, if I said that right.
Henry, yeah. All I see is a little white ball on a triangle white. Is that what I'm supposed to be looking at? There's no person there.
I don't know. We'll see.
Tried to get him in, Guy. We tried to get him in.
Yeah.
They're all waiting.
Hear them.
No problem.
But I don't see anybody.
You
You
know-
having fun, Guy? Are you having fun doing this?
Oh yeah, because you know
And what else are you going to be doing right now, right?
these are boring days, but this is interesting.
Yeah. We want to make sure we engage you, especially right now in this time of quarantine where everybody's
I need
just
somebody.
at home. It's important that we,
Hello?
we check in with you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh, I can hear you, Henry, but I can't
Yeah.
see you.
Sorry, it says failed to start the video. I'm not sure.
All right, I
why.
sent you a message. I asked to start
His
video.
name is Henry.
Henry, yeah.
Yep, his name is
Yeah,
Henry.
I can't see him. Yeah, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, he's trying to get in, Guy. His camera's not working.
Come on, Henry. If Guy Whidden, who's 96 years old, taught us how to use Zoom. I'm kidding.
I'm sorry. My it says when I go to start video, it says cannot start video. Failed to start video camera. Please select another video camera in settings. So I'm
Oh, bummer.
No problem.
We
got
you're
anyways,
here.
all right.
We can't see you, but we can hear you. So why don't you
Yeah.
ask him a question?
All right. My question is, how did you get through like the physical and like emotional pain when you were there? Like, how did you deal with it? I mean, like the stress and everything like that.
Could you hear him, Guy?
Not too well.
How
You
did
know,
you deal with the physical and emotional stress of the war while you were there?
How did you deal with the physical and emotional stress while you were there?
when I tell you this, and most people say, and most veterans would say, I don't believe a word you say. I don't remember ever being afraid. Now, why that is, because when I was growing up, I was a rather timid guy. You know, I weighed 85
Oh.
pounds when I was a freshman in high school. And I used to get bullied a lot. That's another story, because there was another day when I went back to see my bullies after the war.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, so
So
I figured it out.
There he is. Hi, Henry.
Hi.
So Henry, how old are you and where are you from?
I'm 14 and I live in Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, okay.
Confused question.
It's okay.
International
I didn't
conversation.
answer the last question, I think. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
is that a Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, yes. I've been a longtime fan of them, but
Oh no! Hey, cut them off now. Cut them off. Cut them off. You know I
and
played
in the corner, I have a Boston Bruins one too.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but the Steelers. Austin, I think we gotta. No, it's okay. I played for the Chiefs and also for the Chargers.
Really?
The world champion Kansas City Chiefs, actually. But nah.
First of all, I apologize for the last question. I didn't get to ask it because
No.
I kept talking about something else leading up to it. I apologize for that. Now,
Go
this
ahead.
question is,
Repeat.
How did you deal with the stress of the war?
oh, that's his question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the question. Well, like I say, I always felt that God was with me. I mean, because I don't remember any fear at all. And I can mention several times when I didn't die, when I should have died because of divine intervention. And Joe and some of the others have heard some of my stories. I had a vision at one point in time. I had an out-of-body experience another time. And I've had some documented divine interventions. And I have a list of them, and I'm working with a soldier. He's a captain, and I don't see much of him now because I think he's on some secret work, and I don't talk to him about that. And this virus has kept us from working on 2 other books, and his name is Captain Jeff. Maybe he didn't want to be identified here, but he worked with one book, and all the proceeds went to the young soldiers and military people. Not, well, in this case, soldiers, but should be just about anybody in the military who are having financial problems. And everything that his book, he donated to them. So I told him I had one about divine intervention and all that I wouldn't want to make money with. It's just not my habit because, I have a lot of faith. So when he comes back, I have about 50 some divine interventions and so forth, some documented that will go into a book, and I will donate that book to the same place that he donated his.
Oh.
And then there was one other book that might do the same thing with, it's a small thing for me
We
to
were
do.
scared though.
But anyhow, I probably won't see this gentleman. And I hope I live long enough for it because I'm sure this pandemic will come to an end. And I hear some good news, and it comes at Easter time. So think about it. If you start hearing good news at Easter time for anybody of that faith, it should mean something to them. But some people say it's just something, anything could happen. But anyhow, that's why I never felt fear.
Yeah.
I would say I was apprehensive at times. I was a little confused about what might happen next. Because the worst thing didn't happen. Like I lost my squad in the Netherlands, and I almost died then, but I didn't. And the rest of the squad all died. That's the sad part for me. That was my last time in combat, because I was in hospitals for about 10 months. And then I was sneaking out of the hospital and working out. And they told me, and then somebody said, "You shouldn't go outside the hospital. What are you doing?" And I said, "I was jogging." They said, "You're not even supposed to be walking hardly." So anyhow, my next assignment was the airborne school, but they said, "We don't think you'll make it because we understand you just came out of the hospital." I said, "Try me." So I had to go through a week of the first week with raw recruits, and they said I graduated with honors. So then I became a lot of this is divine intervention. You know what I mean? How could I do something, come right out and go to jump school and do lots of push-ups and everything else? But I know I lacked a lot of confidence when I was growing up. I was little. I was getting bullied all the time, and my father and mother, my grandfather and my father were over 6 feet tall, and they were very domineering, but they were wonderful grandfather and father. And I said I could never be tough like them. You know what I mean? And then when I went out for football, the football coach didn't like me, and everybody had a uniform, and I just had shorts on. And he put me in line there and said, "Let's see if we can get through." And they had full uniforms on. He did some terrible things, and so I didn't get to play football. That's a long story. So I had a lot of bad things happen. So, but when I went in the military, it was a complete turnaround. You know, I went to becoming, it's a long story. You wouldn't want to hear all of it.
No, it's
But
good.
anyhow,
Let's give him a break.
Joe's heard a lot of it.
Yeah, no, we enjoy those stories for sure, Guy. I mean, they're never too long for us. We want to hear it. This is making sure
Well, I
that you
try to
don't
tell
forget,
kids
pass it down.
when I go to talk to young people in school, I ask them what their problems are. Well, some say they're being bullied, so I can connect with that. And so sometimes we just talk about their problems. Okay, Donnie, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I just said that we love hearing your stories, and they never get old. So don't feel ashamed at all. We love hearing it, and it's good to have young kids like Henry that are so interested in military history. And you don't even live in America. You live in Canada, right?
Yeah.
You live in Canada.
Canada.
Yeah. But you guys have a big impression on so many people around the world, Guy.
Yes. What part of Canada?
Just in Ontario, so at the bottom, in Ottawa, right close to Toronto.
See, my people lived up on the Canadian border at Calais, Maine. And I could tell you some stories about that and about the border war. You've heard of the border war? Well, my grandfather was a 2-star general during the Civil War, and he also did a lot to settle that problem up on the border. So the short story goes that they had to redraw the line, and some people went to the United States and some went to Canada. So they asked this little lady, "Sorry, but you're in Maine now." She was been in Canada. She said, "Oh," she said, "it's a lot warmer down there." She said, "That's wonderful." all they did was draw a line around her house. Did you get the joke? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
that's
Henry,
fine.
thank you for joining in
Yeah.
our conversation here, and hit us up on either Facebook or Instagram, and we'll
All right.
send you out something cool.
All right. And yeah, thank you, Guy, for your service.
Not to you, Henry. Thank you so much
Yes.
for joining us and
Oh, we don't have time for this
your
question.
No more.
sharing the
We'll
story.
do one more question.
Thank you.
Bye, Henry.
Bye.
We'll take one more question because I know, Guy, you're getting tired of even talking for a long time.
No, it's okay. I can talk for another
do
hour.
One more question. Bring in Jack Z here. Let's see if Jack Z can come in. Oh,
The little Canadian boy.
yeah, it was cool. Someone from
Amazing.
Canada.
We have so many people from all over the world.
Yeah, and a Steeler fan.
From England. What's that?
And a Steeler fan.
Steeler fan, yeah. Canadian Steeler fan. What are the odds?
And that, but
Tell the little Canadian boy I'll answer his question another day then.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we're connecting here. Come on.
your uniform looks good on you, Guy.
Yeah, it does.
That's it.
Your uniform looks really good on you.
Thank you.
Hello?
You're looking good yourself.
Hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Jack.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
I don't know how to, let me see if they can see you. Oh, start my video.
There you are.
Oh,
So is your name Jack?
yes.
How old are you and where are you
How old
from?
are you?
What? How old are you and where are you calling from? I'm 11 and I'm calling from Arizona.
Oh, very cool.
Welcome.
What's your question, Jack?
What's your question for paratrooper Guy Whidden?
What was like his first combat experience?
Well,
Did you hear that?
Combat experience like?
well, that happened right after we landed in France on D-Day, and that was around 1 o'clock in the morning. And I've told that story. Have they been listening into all the other stories?
He might not have heard the story earlier.
I would tell this young man that landing there was the first of the combat to come. So a lot of combat came after that. We were in France for, I think, 35 days, but there was very heavy fighting for the first 15 days maybe, and then it started to level off a little bit. And then we went up to Cherbourg to Tip. They were still fighting up there. There's a lot of fighting going on. And in between there and St. Mary-Glise, it had toned down to nothing because the Germans were out of there. But so the first experience answer to his question was when I hit the ground and got hit by the supply bundle. You probably heard that. That's the first experience, young man. I don't see the young man. There he is. How old are you?
I'm 11.
Where do you live?
In Arizona.
Arizona, that's a good place. That's where the Apaches used to be, right?
I
Apache
think
Indian.
so.
Apache. See, the Mohawk they were very early on, in the 1600s, early 1700s.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you think of his mohawk, Jack?
His
He's a
mouth
nice.
is cool. I like it.
As we all shave our heads, Jack.
Okay, buddy. The
We
boy
all
from
shave our heads
Canada.
with mohawks?
You lost the boy from Canada.
I think we lost Jack there.
We lost
Oh.
Jack. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
We lost your video. We lost your video.
Yeah. All
Oh.
right, Jack. Well, thanks for coming on and asking a question. Make sure. Oh, yeah. Guy flipped his camera there for a second.
No worries. Yeah, make sure you reach out to us through DM, direct message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll make sure that we'll get something out to you that I think you would like.
Thank you, Donnie.
Hi.
Thanks a lot.
Bye,
Thanks,
Jack.
thanks, Ralph and Joe and Austin.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Guy, it was a pleasure and an honor to have you on. And, you know, this is the best that we can do right now. I mean, we're not doing any programs. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our DC program at the end of March. I know you're coming with us, you know, to the White House. Yeah, I know. I apologize for that, but it's out of our control. So this is the next best thing right now. We're all confined into our homes right now, but we can still reach out to you and engage you and connect you with the community. There's so many people that will love this opportunity to speak to someone like yourself, a World War II veteran, and continue the message. I'm really excited to have so many young kids following from different countries and learning about what you guys did so many years ago. And we're going to always remember, we're going to never forget. And thank you for taking the time out of your day, Guy. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it again soon. If it's in Normandy, if it's in Holland or Germany, we're going to make it happen. You're coming with us, and hopefully we can all get through this quarantine. I mean, you know, through this pandemic right now. And thank you to Lydia, if you're still there. Thank you so much for all your help. Yeah. You're wonderful. You're wonderful.
She's a wonderful granddaughter.
We got him in the paper, in the local paper.
Oh, nice.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, he got interviewed the other day, and they absolutely love the Mohawk. So they wanted to try to promote more good news because we need more good news.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for putting this together.
Yeah,
Donnie, I'll do any number of these if you want.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we have right now, there's 15 people waiting to come in and ask a question. And I'm like, you know, we can't do this forever, but I think we should do a round 2 with Guy.
Yeah,
we can do another day.
Yeah, so we'll do this another day, and everybody who's waiting and who's been waiting.
How about once a week?
Once a week, yeah.
What else do we do? We got nothing else going on. Everybody who was waiting, we'll hopefully get you next time. Yeah. And we want to do more and more of these. So thanks everyone for joining in.
And I love you guys.
We love you too, Guy.
Love you too, Guy.
All right.
Thank you.
See y'all soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye now.